Hi, welcome back to another episode of Water Rising. Thanks for being here, courageous, beautiful soul. So today we are going to dive into beliefs, and I want to start with a favorite quote of mine. And if you know me, you probably already have heard me say this before, and I may have even said it on an episode before, because it really was a quote that for me just expanded my mind in a moment. And it's a very simple quote. It just says, you can have your beliefs, just don't believe in them. And the first time I read it, I don't even think I understood what it meant, because I was so ingrained in belief that I didn't even understand that belief was a choice. I just believed what I believed. I believed what I had been taught. I believed what I had been indoctrinated into. I believed what I had studied and learned and, been passed down from my parents and learned in college and school and all the things. And the idea that something could just be a belief, it hadn't permeated my reality yet. And so I read this quote, I would say in my mid-20s. And it was the start, right, of my spiritual journey. Was right around this time too. It was when I had found myself on a yoga mat and just was bawling because a yoga teacher told me that God loves you. And that was the only statement that she said. Like, there was nothing after it. There was nothing I had to do. There was nothing that I needed to say or atone for or, make amends for or feel shame around or guilt around or buy into, or it literally just stopped me in my tracks. And I remember I just would cry because it was so sort of moving, I suppose, to me, right? That I didn't have to perform in order for God to love me. That this lady just was telling me that God loved me because I was alive. And that was huge, huge for me. And then shortly after that, I read this quote that you don't have to believe your beliefs. And it was like, reality started crumbling around me. And this was the opening, right? This was the pathway. We each have our own moment. We have the place we come to and the place that cracks us open, and sometimes it's easier than others. And for sure, it's not the only time. That was one of the first crackings opens in this particular part of my life, and there were many before in different ways, and there were certainly many after, because oh my gosh, we all know that this spiritual path is about cracking open and open and open and again and again and again, and on it keeps going until we reach a point, right, where we are still seeking, we are still searching, and yet there's a different relationship with the cracking open. That's the way I experience it. I wouldn't say that it gets easier. I just get more practiced at it. I get more willing to stand in the fire. I get more willing to show up for the cracking open, because I know that on the other side, the new identity that steps out is so much closer to the truth of who am I, right? Who are you? That question that we ask ourselves on this path. Who am I truly underneath every belief? Everything I've been taught, everything that I decided about myself and my path and how I'm creating the world around me, and what's safe, what's not safe, who am I supposed to be, who am I not supposed to be. My big, my core wound is attached to abandonment and adaptability. I learned to be whoever I needed to be, whenever, however, wherever. I could change, it was like a superpower. And because of that, I was well liked. I fit in a lot of places. I, appeared to have a very happy, joyful, fun, friend-filled, great life. And then inside I was dying and falling apart. And so debilitatingly not comfortable in who I was, and yet nobody on the outside knew that at all. And so we are just made up entirely of our beliefs, and then how those beliefs layered themselves in our nervous system in order to protect us. So we're essentially just like a set of responses to external stimuli in order to maintain safety. And it's kind of, what's the word, like not exciting at all when we think about ourselves in this place, right? Like we can boil down our entire existence and personality and who we are to a statement that just says we're a bunch of reactions that keep us safe. And then you start to think like, what? Who am I? Is anything I do authentic and legitimate and real and actually true and correct for me? Or am I just constantly fielding off stimuli so that my nervous system can try to find some sense of regulation? And for me, it was a little bit deflating, I would say, right? Like, holy moly, that's all I am? And then at the same time, so incredibly freeing. Because, oh, if that's all I am, then, well, I can change that, right? I just have to change what I believe. I have to change what I think. I have to change who I think I am. And it's not even changing. It's just having a different relationship with. Because everything in our lives is relationship. You've heard me talk about this, right? It's just how we're relating. It's how am I relating to this plant? Do I remember to water it? Do I remember to love her? Oh, I love this plant, by the way. She was so tiny when I first got her, and now she is giant and just grows and all these beautiful new leaves. But anyway, right? It's about relating to my plant, how I'm relating to you, how am I relating to myself, how am I relating to anything that comes to me? How am I relating to the news? How am I relating to what I think other people think about me? How am I relating to my job? How am I relating to my kids? How am I relating to my animals? How am I relating to what I'm wearing and how I feel in my body and how my hair looks? And how am I relating to brushing my teeth? I mean, I could go on and on and on because every single thing is a relationship. And when we bring it back to that truth, right, it becomes sacred. Because we remember that relating is really like the foundation of our lives. And when we shift how we are relating, we shift reality, we shift relationships, we shift our internal landscape, we shift what we think and how we see the world. We change what we make things mean. And this changes everything. Because you bring the meaning to your life, right? Life is neutral. Life is just happening. It's just going about its business. And then here I come, making it mean all kinds of things based on the patterns, right? The reactions that were laid down in me to keep me safe, that I now call my personality. This is who I am. And yet really it's just a costume that I wear. Sarah is a costume. She's a fun one to wear, right? I like it. And Sarah has lots of different costumes, right? There's Sarah the teacher. There's Sarah the mother. There's Sarah the ex-wife. There's Sarah the daughter. Like, there's Sarah the business owner. Sarah has many different personalities. And a lot of the spiritual path, right, is both disrobing from those costumes, but also integrating them, making it where Sarah as a mother is no different to Sarah as a daughter. Who I'm being as an ex-wife is no different than who I'm being here on this video with you, right? All the Sarahs are congruent. All the Sarahs are integrated. All the Sarahs are coherent. And when we can find that level of connectedness in our life, all of our relationships change, right? Because we believe something different. Or ultimately, belief doesn't have a hold on us. You can believe what you want to believe. And I don't have a reaction to it, right? My ex-husband, he can believe whatever he wants to believe. I get to choose what I do with what I believe about what he believes, right? This is when we get in the game. If I'm going to spend my time making up beliefs about what I believe about what he believes, how are we ever going to get into a true relationship that is correct for our children? It doesn't exist in that place, right? It exists in the place of neutrality. It exists in the place of a common goal, and then two people being devoted to that common goal, and us really witnessing anything we bring that is outside of that common goal, anything that is a belief, that is a meaning that we are making that could or could not be true, depending on what truth is, right? Like, it's such a rabbit hole that we could go down. And yet, as we're talking, right, can you begin to see how we start to pull the threads of this? And this is part of the teaching, right? This is, you can have your beliefs, just don't believe in them. Because ultimately, they're just threads to be pulled that are going to take you somewhere deeper. They are going to take you to something that is much more correct for you, much more authentically you, much more aligned with the divine being, right, that is being expressed through you. Yeah, so what are your beliefs that you are super attached to? What are the beliefs that you can look at and find humor in, that you actually believe that? Right? It's so much of life is an illusion. It really, really is, if we let ourselves be neutral about that life is an illusion, right? Because once you get all bent out of shape about life is an illusion, well, you're still hooked in the illusion. It's really pulling back and witnessing from the place of curiosity, impartiality, right? Witness. That's interesting. I wonder what could be possible, right? It's when we ask a question inside of that space, instead of rush in with all of our programming and conditioning, that we actually create space, that we actually change the way we are relating. And it's making me think, in the Andean traditions, they have a word in it, it's Ayni. And Ayni means right relationship. And right relationship is where the giving and the receiving of any relationship and interaction is so equal and in reciprocity that you cannot tell where one begins and one ends. And so it's circular, right? The giving is the receiving, and the receiving is the giving. And because of this reciprocity, and because of this ability to equally do the dance, then right relationship is a natural outcome of it, because it's not a triggering, it's not a competition, it's not a I need this and you need that and we can't meet because your needs aren't met and their needs aren't met, and you get caught in this tangle, as opposed to stepping outside of it and really seeing where that flow is, right? Of being in neutrality, of being outside the beliefs, and really being centered in what is divine, what is sacred, what is the relationship that you are crafting and creating. So thanks for being here, for tuning in. You can find us on Substack. We have our membership in there that you can join and get on calls with me and get so much more of this type of teaching. I really, really love supporting you on this journey, and just so appreciate that you're here doing this deeper work, right? Because it's not just for ourselves. It really is for us all, right? Like, yes, we get the beautiful benefit of the work that we're doing, but we're also all interconnected. We're all humans together. We're all beings on this planet together, right? All the beings, the plant beings, the cloud beings, the river beings, the animal beings, the human beings. We're all interconnected in an ecosystem. And so by doing this work, we are helping all of us. Also, to go deeper with this, you can check out sarahnoble.com/journey. And this is our mentorship gathering magical space where we are in support of each other, learning, growing, coming together in devotion to what we love. Come join us in our spaces. Mwah.